Assalamu alaikum. For this week, we're going to discuss a new topic on continuation of financial reporting, but further deliberation on accrual accounting in public sector and accrual accounting in the Malaysian government specifically. So this lecture will be divided into two parts. One just for general discussion, and the second part will cover on the specific accounting standards. Okay, so accrual for transparency, that issues on IPSAS and MPSAS. Okay, we talk about accrual accounting in Malaysian public sector. Issues on accrual accounting transition, okay, will be discussed, and selected MPSAS for accrual environment. Okay, could accrual accounting lead to greater transparency and accountability of public sector? Okay, so think about this and try to understand the linkage. I think it's more on towards the fact that accounting process, financial accounting and financial statements are reported, more transparent with our understanding of the recognition of assets and liabilities, and as well as fund balance. Okay, so and also as well as note to disclosure. Okay, so in general, accrual accounting will provide more disclosure, a wider, more understandings of what transparency is. Okay, and what we understand transparency as provided by financial statement in private sector. So similarly, now accrual accounting will be applied in the government entities. Okay. Right. Accrual for transparency and improve public financial management. The adoption of accrual accounting should lead to greater transparency for the government entities in using of public funds. Some of the implications of the accrual for such purpose are as follows. With accrual accounting, complete financial statements for each government entity will be prepared, including the statement of financial performance, financial position, and cash flow statements. These would enable assessment of financial performance of the government organizations. Accrual accounting will enable the account for liabilities and future commitments with greater accuracy. These will improve transparency in managing public funds. Okay, so take note of that. Because before this, list of liabilities are reported in memorandum of accounts, but with financial statements prepared under accrual accounting, so this will be the same balance sheet, will be reported together. With IPSAS, the accounting for assets and liabilities at fair value would improve presentation of the government financial standing. Okay, so I think with IPSAS as well as IFRS, okay, the emphasis on fair value. Okay, but to what extent the fair value is being applied in the public sector setting, I think is being described in the each standards. Either it is PPE or investment property and financial instruments. Okay, but unlike the MFRS, where they have their separate fair value standards. Okay, but I think it's yet to be issued in the case of public sector accounting. Right, international public sector accounting standards. This is what I think we mentioned before. Okay, IPSAS applicable to all public sector entities, including national governments, local governments, and their component governments, but they are not applicable to government business entities, GLCs. Because GLCs or business entities, they can use MFRS, or in the case of international at the global level, then they can use IFRS. Okay, but for IPSAS, it's specifically for non-business entities for government. As at 2019, 40 IPSAS have been issued by IPSB. And okay, you can check at IPSB website. Okay, you can also download your own copy. Okay, please click to that IPSAS website. Okay, these are examples of IPSAS being issued. Okay, so from IPSAS 1 to 13. Okay, in this case 14 to 25, but now it's 40. Right, there are specific accounting standards which is unique to public sector. Okay, one of them definitely revenue from non-exchange transactions. Okay, these are example. Even the PPE, so we'll discuss later on the specific issues that is unique to government public sector, as well as the recent standards on concessions. Okay, this is also unique to government sector. Okay, accrual accounting in the Malaysian public sector. Okay, was introduced, early 2000, 2010, 2011, as part of public sector reforms. Actually, was introduced earlier than that, but then it's formally introduced again in 2011 till now. Okay, so it takes now 10 years for the process of implementation, stage by stage. But now I think definitely it is the government are ready to publish the annual reports under accrual accounting. Okay, so it's important because as we discussed earlier, okay, it's to account properly the use of resources as well as how government generate their incomes, then understanding of to what extent the government debts. So accrual accounting provides that comprehensive overview. The benefits of accrual accounting provide a more comprehensive and accurate picture of government financial position, enhance the government transparency and accountability in its financial management and accounting system. Okay, improve the government financial management and accounting system through good governance and thus resulting value for money. Promote efficiency and effectiveness of the government organizations by providing complete and comprehensive performance report and financial statements. Provide better guidance for prudent financial management. Okay, so when with clarity and greater transparency, so more discussion, deliberation can be questioned between parliament members, okay, from ministries to the controlling officers. Okay, within the controlling officers domain also, he can ask his subordinates. Okay, so what's going on with the government use of government resources? Is it on effective and efficient way as well as economy? Okay, to enhance or to achieve value for money. Implementation strategy of accrual accounting. Okay, so these are okay the process that was undertaken by the government to implement accrual accounting as an accounting system in the government. Okay, first is developing MPSAS. Okay, basically developing MPSAS is adopting IPSAS, and then there are modifications that is needed to to link that or to meet the local environment. Okay, developing accrual accounting policies. Okay, from time to time. So, what will be the relevant accounting policies that can be applied by the government agencies? Okay, that's in terms of standard and policies. I think now is quite advanced. Now we have, I think, similarly as what is been issued by IPSAS, so also being adopted by Accountants General. Okay, you can check on the website of IPSAS. Then, in terms of law and procedures, review and propose amendments to Financial Procedures Act 1957 and relevant acts together with the Attorney General Council. Okay, so the law is to be passed at the Parliament for its full implementation, including reporting of public accounts. So this is essential because before the public accounts to be reported under accrual accounting, so there must be a law that is guiding these procedures. So this is yet to be passed at the Parliament. Supposedly it should be passed in March 2020, but because of COVID and for other reason, so there is a delay. Now I think Accountants General Department are looking forward for this amendment, the law to be passed by the Parliament before they can issue account awam or public accounts under accrual accounting. Change management, development of human capital, okay, engagement of accounting officers in accrual accounting implementation. So human resource is very important because to match the competencies of the government accountants with the needs of accrual accounting systems and procedures. Process and technology, okay, undertaking gap analysis between cash accounting and accrual accounting. So this is done. I think Malaysian government, they engage with private sector experts, okay, so that they provide solutions as well as together with the design and accounting system. Okay, structure of accounts. The concept of consolidated fund will be maintained under the accrual basis of accounting. But the three accounts in the consolidated fund will be treated as follows. Okay, consolidated revenue for account, consolidated loan account, and all balances of government trust accounts. I think the main three structure of the accounts will be maintained for reporting purposes. Now we move on to accounting standards, Malaysian Public Sector Accounting Standards. Okay, MPSAS. Okay, so how MPSAS was introduced? Basically in 2013, the agreement between IFAC and Accountants General, okay, is to introduce IPSAS so that it become part of MPSAS. Okay, and the only divergence are when IPSAS contradict with local legislations. In that situation, local legislation shall prevail. And besides the accounting standard that has to be observed by the public sector accounting entities in Malaysia other than government business enterprises. Okay, these are the structure, okay, from the draft of MPSAS, okay, under the policy unit policy standards and policy units under Accountants General Department, and then it will approve, okay, by the committee, accrual accounting committee, and then approval by the IFACs. Right, so these are conceptual framework of accrual accounting. So basically accounting reporting qualities. Okay, it is presented on a part of MPSAS 1 under Appendix A. Okay, fundamental qualitative characteristics including relevance, materiality, faithful presentation, and enhancing qualitative characteristics, comparability, verifiability, timeliness, and understandability. I think it is good for you to understand the qualitative characteristics of accounting information. Okay, so it's applicable in private sector. It's also applicable in public sector. Okay, relevance. Okay, materiality, faithful presentation. So this become, I think, for you to judge, to have a accounting judgment. So these qualitative characteristics will guide. Of course, for to lead or to guide the accountants to develop their professional judgment. Definitely they follow accounting standards, but this provide the background for what is need to be achieved when they prepare accounting information, okay, for faithful presentation as well as useful information. Okay, this scope of implementation. I think nowadays up to MPSAS 40, right? So just I think it's good to see the stages how this been adopted across the time from 2013 to 2016. Okay, as a updates. Okay, so under MPSAS, definitely, there is in the accounting standards, okay, there is for each accounting standards, definition, recognition, measurement, and disclosure. Okay, this is very common for accounting standards, right? And then with the policy, okay, to prepare for the financial statements, including principle, basis, the conventions, rules, and practices. Okay, the issues of transition from cash to accrual. In Malaysia, accrual transition is managed by the Accrual Accounting Steering Committee, okay, under Accountants General Department. Provision for accrual accounting transition provides government agency with ample time to get accrual accounting system ready. Okay, so MPSAS definitely. So there is a specific standard, MPSAS 33, to guide them for the transition. Okay, transition refers to the 3-year period when the government adopts one or more exemptions in MPSAS 33 prior to full compliance with MPSAS. Okay, the expected is 3-year period. So by right, this 2019 and 2020, they should apply full accrual. Okay, as first time on the transition, okay, first time adopters shall prepare and present an opening statement of financial position at the date of adoption of MPSAS. Okay, this will become the starting points. So I think the challenge is definitely to develop the opening balance of the accounts under accrual accounting. Okay, so shall apply the requirements retrospectively as well as to develop the estimates. Okay, there's a series of accounting estimates to be in accordance with accrual accounting. Okay, these are some of the discussions or items that is provided by Accountants General Department for the government agencies to comply. Okay, including the exemptions, because for them to be able to full compliance. So, but at the transition period, there are exemptions. Okay, these are a list of exemptions. Okay, including okay, some of the accounting standards, investment properties, PPE, agriculture, okay, financial instruments, okay, recognition and measurement of non-exchange revenue, and these are the details. Okay, leases, contingencies, related party disclosures. But it clearly mentioned exemptions affecting fair presentation and compliance. Okay. There are also exemptions not affecting fair presentations and compliance as decided by AG, Accountants General Department. Okay, so including date at which cost can be determined, okay, measurement of assets, okay, all these items, including PPE, investment property, okay, service concession assets, measurement of assets acquired through non-exchange transactions. Okay, it is an exemption but not considered as affecting fair presentation and compliance. Okay, these are further items, including investment, foreign exchange, hyperinflationaries, hedge accounting, as a list of exemptions. Okay, first time adoption of MPSAS. Okay, these are examples given. So, specific. I think you can download the manuals from Accountants General Department website. So on the accrual accounting manuals. Okay, so this example. Scenario A, recognition of asset as opening balance on first adoption during transitional period. Okay, total property PPE consisting of two separate assets, asset A and B, are recognized as opening balance during the transition period from cash accrual accounting to accrual accounting. Okay, so you must remember to estimate the opening balance. Okay, so generally, definitely, a fair value should be the guiding principle. Asset A amount to 150,000 is purchased by responsibility center, financed through general fund. Asset B amounts to 75,000 is financed through a government trust account. So you can see that clearly the source, so how each transaction should be treated. One definitely will be reported under general fund, the other is under trust fund. Okay, asset A has an operating gross balance of 150 and accumulated depreciation of 50,000. Asset B has an opening gross balance of 75,000 and accumulated depreciation of 25,000. So how these two assets can be accounted in the government account. Okay, so these are a series of journal entries. Okay, you can see that for general fund. Okay, accounting under general fund. So 150,000. Okay, the cost of the assets. Okay, and the asset A basically. So asset B is accounted under trust account, trust fund. Then the value of 75,000 with the relevant the accumulated depreciation. So you can see that the remaining balance or the balancing figure is the accumulated surplus or deficit. Okay, under general fund. So basically, it's part of fund balance. So similarly, the net book value is counted as under accumulated surplus or deficit under trust account. Okay, so basically as fund balance. So fund balance increase with the increase of net book value of the assets. Okay, so with regard to selected MPSAs, that will be deliberated further. Okay, we will discuss a bit on detail on MPSAS 1, and then on presentation of financial statements under accrual accounting, MPSAS 17 for PPE, MPSAS 23 revenue from non-exchange transactions, MPSAS 24. I think you can read this on your own because it's basically how to present the budget information in the financial statements. Because budget is the budget allocation is the main source of funding for government organizations, and MPSAS 32 on service concession. Okay, because there's so many service concessions. Right, these MPSAs, basically 5 MPSAs were selected because it's quite unique for the government. Okay, so try to understand them. Now we move on to MPSAS 1, presentation of financial statements. So this one very similar to financial private sector. Okay, it's not something new. It's just that when government move from cash accounting to accrual accounting, okay, so they have more disclosure, more information to be presented. Okay, so these are the statements that will be prepared: statement of financial position, statement of financial performance, and then changes in net asset or equity, cash flow statement, and notes to the accounts, including the statement on budget as well, should be disclosed. Okay, so this if you download MPSAS 1, okay, so you can find this. Right, of course, these are under IPSAS, but it just I think the presentation. Okay, so under full accrual, so you have assets, so you can expect that there is current asset, cash, receivables, inventories, prepayments, non-current asset. Okay, there are investment associates, infrastructure, plant and equipment. Okay, intangible assets and liabilities. So full accounts. Right, in terms of revenue, this one is revenue mainly, of course, tax, okay, non-exchange revenue. And then if you look at expenses, but it is based on function. So if you look at expenses, it's based on sector, general public service, defense, education, health. Okay, so that's one way to present. And then at the bottom there, there's no profit, but they call it surplus or deficit for the period. Okay, and attributable to controlling entity as well as minority interest. Okay, and then this is by nature, expenses by nature. Okay, wages, grants, depreciations, impairments. So these are what you are understood, commonly known. Okay, in presenting the financial performance of the entities. Okay, just in highlights, MPSAs related to structure and size of public sector organizations. Okay, MPSAs 34 and 35 on consolidated as financial statements. MPSAs 36 on investment in associates and joint venture. MPSAs 37 on joint arrangement. Okay. Opening balance strategy, challenges faced, key challenges of data collection. Okay, this one is relevant when it comes to transitions, when moving from cash accounting to accrual accounting, where the first step is definitely to develop the opening balance under accrual accounting. Okay, so these are some challenges. Identification of assets, data availability and completeness, because you must remember that government, the capital expenditure is all being treated as expenditures that is under cash accounting. So the cost is not recorded as assets. So now under accrual accounting, so they have to develop the estimates. So let's say the building, so how much the building will cost, because the record as an asset is not there. Okay, of course, all these fixed assets are registered under fixed asset register, but the total cost for accounting purposes. Okay, these are the challenges. So issues of measurement and valuation of assets, definitely if the buildings has been there for hundreds of years. So how to value them? Number of stakeholders involved, legal versus beneficial owner of assets, okay, existence of the assets. Okay, so maybe the asset is in a fixed asset register, but it's still functioning or working, that contribute to the service provision in the public service. Okay, under statement of assets, same asset taken by few parties, okay, overlapping, okay, possible because sometimes government services in same building there are so many agencies involved, okay, as well as the federal government, state government, they are working together in the same building. So how to address all those challenges? Failure in obtaining the correct opening balance in time for the transitional period. Okay, these are the net effect. Right, I think that's for the first part of the lecture. If you have any question, okay, please post your questions and contact me, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.